You're listening to the Health, Tech, and Wellness Podcast, where we cut through the noise and get straight to what really works for real people. This is more than just losing weight. It's about gaining life and doing the things you never thought you could do, building lasting confidence and creating a body and mind you truly love. I'm your host, John Adams. I've spent years refining a transformative, sustainable plan that's realistic, balanced, and proven to work. I've lost over 100 pounds using this plan, and I'm on a mission to share the strategy that changed my life and help others by sharing what I've learned to help build the life they truly deserve. Welcome to episode 7 of the Health, Tech, and Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, John Adams. And today we're going to dive into the most important concept behind Living 95, rewiring your mind. Because let's be real, most people fail at weight loss not because they lack willpower, but because they never change the way they think about food, habits, or long-term success. You've probably tried to lose weight before, maybe multiple times. That's why you're here. You start strong. You follow a plan, and for a while, everything seems to be working. But then life happens. Stress hits you. Motivation fades, and before you know it, you're back to all of your old habits. So why does this happen? It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you lack discipline. It's because your habits, the choices that you make every single day, are literally wired into your brain. Every time you repeat a behavior, you strengthen a neural pathway in your brain. It's like walking through a field of tall grass. The first time you step through, it's kind of tough. But the more you walk that same path over and over, the more defined it becomes. Eventually, it turns into a small trail. And then, if you walk it long enough, it becomes like a road. That's how habits work. The more you do something, the easier it becomes. And that's why most diets fail. They operate in extremes, all or nothing. You're either 100% on the plan or you've ruined everything. That's our mentality. It's just more wiring. It teaches you that one mistake means failure. So then you just quit. But living 95 isn't about perfection. It's about rewiring. Before you can break free from that all or nothing lifestyle that you've been on your entire life with every diet plan that you've ever been on, you have to understand how your brain operates. You're not changing what you eat 100%. You're changing how you think about food, success, and even failure. Because here's the reality. Life will happen. You're going to have unexpected moments, birthdays, vacations, stress, or just those times when you need a break. That's where the grace, that 5% comes in. That's the 5% that makes this sustainable. It's not cheating. It's not a failure, and definitely not something to hide. It's built into the plan. Living 95 has that 5% built right in. It's the flexibility that allows you to live your life while still making progress. It's what keeps you from feeling deprived and eventually rebelling against every habit you've been trying to rebuild. So instead of chasing perfection, recognize that every choice is a chance to reinforce a new pathway. Now, let me say this. I'm definitely not a psych major, but I know because I've read it and I've looked it up before I did this podcast. And I knew it before because I've been living it this entire time. You cannot rip out the old wiring that's in your brain. Those pathways have been there and you've built them and reinforced them over all of the years that you've been alive. But what can you do? You can start laying down new, stronger connections that make the old ones weaker by comparison. Imagine running fresh, high-powered cables along those outdated frayed wires. Over time, your brain's going to default to the new paths simply because those are the ones that you've strengthened the most. That's how you're going to override years of old habits. So how do you start rewiring your brain for success? Number 1, awareness. Identify your current wiring. The first step in changing anything is awareness. You can't change what you don't recognize.
Take a moment and think about your current habits. What foods do you reach for without even thinking? When do you crave unhealthy foods the most? Late at night? When you're stressed? Or when you're bored? Write all of these down. As I build my coaching program, I'm developing outlines and templates that are going to help with this process. But in the meantime, grab a notebook or use the Notes app on your phone or your computer. And remember, most importantly, this is not about guilt. It's about understanding your patterns. Because once you see the patterns, you can change it. Number 2, interrupt the pattern and create a pause. Once you've identified your automatic habits, the next step is learning how to pause before you act on them. So let's say this. You always grab a snack while you watch TV. Next time before reaching for the chips, pause and ask yourself this. Am I actually hungry? Or is this just a routine? Will eating this make me feel better long term? Or is this just going to last a few minutes? If you truly think that you're hungry, try this. Decide that you're going to eat, but not in front of the TV. Instead, go sit at the table or any other spot in the house that's away from the view of the TV. This simple shift helps you separate actual hunger from the habit of mindless eating. If it's real hunger, you'll still want the food. If it's just a habit, the urge is going to likely fade once you can't see the TV anymore and the distraction's gone. This small change builds awareness and starts rewiring your brain to break the automatic connections between TV and snacks. Even a 5-second pause can start breaking these old neural connections. It's not about depriving yourself. It's about giving your brain time to make conscious decisions instead of running on autopilot all the time. Number 3, replace. Don't just remove. Here's where most people start to go wrong. They try to simply stop bad habits without replacing them with something better. Here's the problem. Your brain doesn't like gaps. If you take something away, it's only going to crave it even more. Instead of just stopping an unhealthy habit, slowly, methodically replace it. Instead of grabbing chips, have a healthier snack ready. Instead of stress eating, take a 5-minute walk or do deep breathing. Instead of scrolling through your phone at night, read a few pages of a book. And by the way, if you're looking for a good book to read, the link to my novel, The Cost of Forever, is in the bio. But all joking aside, at first, it's gonna feel really weird. Your brain is used to all of these old habits, but the more you respect the new behavior, the stronger the pathway becomes. Number 4, make small changes stick before adding more. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to change everything at once. I'm cutting out all sugar right now. I'm going to work out every single day. I'm meal prepping every meal for the rest of the year. It all sounds great in theory, but in reality, it's overwhelming. And when things get overwhelming, what do? We quit. Instead, start with one small change. For example, drink a glass of water in place of one of your sugary drinks each day. That's it. Just one change. When that becomes effortless, when you do it without thinking, then that's when you add in another habit. This is called habit stacking, and it's one of the most powerful ways to rewire your brain without the burnout. Here's why this works. Your brain loves efficiency. It's why we brush our teeth without thinking. It's why we automatically reach for our phone every single time we're bored. It's why we crave the same foods over and over and over again. Bad habits stick because they're easy, they're automatic, and they require no thinking. You repeat a new behavior enough times, your brain adopts to the new way, and the new way becomes the new easy. That's why consistency is more important than intensity. A small habit done daily is more powerful than a big change that you can't sustain. And remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. You don't need more willpower. You need better systems. Rewiring your brain isn't about flipping a switch. It's about laying down new paths, one step at a time. It's not about willpower. It's not about restrictions. It's about changing how you think so that better choices become automatic. This is the foundation of living 95. And once you master this, everything else, weight loss, energy, health, it's all going to fall into place without the struggle. Trust me, I lived this for the last 2.5 years. I know this works. I cannot wait. I'm trying to put together this program so I can actually put it out to you guys and have it in your hands. But it's not coming together as quickly as I want it to because I want this to be perfect. It may take a year, but I just want it to be perfect before I get it out to you guys. But I know this works. I'm down 111 pounds. My A1C was 13.4 3 years ago. I am 5.5 today and standing for the last 6-8 months. 5.5. Like, that's non-diabetic. I have controlled my A1C. My blood pressure is perfect. My cholesterol is perfect. I'm not saying that I'm super healthy. I'm saying that I'm way healthier than I was 3 years ago. This works. And this is why I keep preaching it. I've walked down the path of all of the fad diets and the roller coasters my entire life. In my early 20s, I fell from a train and I shattered my elbow. My elbow does not straighten. My knees hurt anytime the weather changes. My back constantly kills me. And I made excuses for years. And I would put a bunch of weight on. Then I would take a crash fad diet and I would lose a bunch of weight for about 6 months. And then guess what? I would hate life and I'd put it all back on. This works. This is the first time in my life that consistently, for more than a year, for more than 6 months, going on 2.5 years of loving life. I live my entire life living 95. I live as close to 100% clean 95% of my life. That means every day that is not a race day, I live clean. Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. If there's nothing crazy going on, I'm eating as clean as humanly possible. I'm not saying I'm perfect. We're always going to slip. But it's so much better than I ever was. And think about this. You start slow. You're not perfect. You move to the next step. You're still not perfect. Guess what? It's living 95. 100% is perfect. This is not perfect. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. I hope that this episode gave you a fresh perspective on rewiring your brain for success. If this resonated with you, I'd love if you could share this episode with someone who you think might need it. I know I say this every single time, and I'm going to keep repeating it. And please, 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 don't forget to hit that follow button. Subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know that you're listening. Let me know that this is resonating with you and that it matters. I really appreciate all the support that I've been getting from people. And I just want to make sure that this is getting out to people. So the more likes, the more shares, and the more follows I get, the more the algorithm on YouTube is going to continue to share this. And by the way, I'm making this episode and my last few episodes using Riverside FM, which is just an amazing, amazing software. This software, I record these videos. I have them edited in less time than it took me to do all the research and planning and record these episodes, edit them, and get them up to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and all the places that I post them. So if you're looking to get into YouTube or you're thinking about doing a podcast or just any kind of recording, I'm telling you, Riverside FM is the way to go. I couldn't be happier. I was so overwhelmed trying to use all the other editing softwares and trying to record on this software and then save it into my computer and it getting filled up and then having to move it over to this software to do the editing and then have to export it out of that software to upload it. Riverside FM has just made this so easy for me. So again, guys, the link is in the bio if you want to check them out. It'll support the channel. Anytime somebody clicks on that link and purchases, I get a little something. This is not sponsored. I'm not sponsored by anybody at this moment. I don't think I'll ever be sponsored by anybody because I'm talking against the diet industry and I'm just talking health. But at the end of the day, guys, if you want to support me, if you're thinking about just the hobby of trying out YouTube, check the link in the bio. It's Riverside FM. Try it out. They have a free option that you can try. It's going to have a watermark on it. It's not going to have all the cool features that I'm using. But at the end of the day, give them a try. And if you like them and you sign up, I get a little something. Again, thank you so much. I really appreciate everything that you guys do. We're trying to create a community that's focused on real results, real support, and no gimmicks. This isn't just about weight loss. It's about creating a happier, healthier you. As always, stay healthy, stay balanced, and keep driving forward. I'll see you next time.